All right, good afternoon. A good spirited Wednesday. Guys are into it. Had a great presentation by Coach Caldwell today talking about the details. Finishing is in the details, and what a great message, for us, for our group, to find that all the way through these games, where we see progress, but the goal is to win these games. And so it was well received. It was an excellent presentation. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure Coach Caldwell got a little love there.
I know Jim does a lot of mentoring for you and stuff behind the scenes. How helpful has he been kind of during these pockets of the season where it feels like you guys are close, but it's not showing up on the scoreboard?
Yeah, it's been every part of the process, from the offseason all the way through. And, his reminders are just stay consistent with your messaging, don't back off, continue to press in, and he's encouraging. He gives me a bunch of just little tidbits about different situations that come up, and so he's been a wealth of knowledge that way.
Coach, 2 questions on defense. How is Horn? And the second, over the past month, can you speak to the efficiency of Ichiro's blitz packaging calls?
So first of all, JC, his groin tightened up on him in the game, and so we're kind of taking him day by day right now. He did a little bit of moving around, but not much today. We're just trying to see if we can build him to get him out there on Sunday. So, but again, it's going to be day to day, just kind of on his progress, and talking about Ijiro, and just the different packages, the different things, trying to attack offenses the right way. Get the right combination of players out there in different situations, requires a lot of work, a lot of focus by the whole group, the staff, the players, everyone included. So I've been really pleased with just, the production that's come out of that in the last couple of weeks.
13 sacks, I believe, in the last 3 games. Are you seeing that as a result of the scheme, the effort, or both, or maybe something different?
It's both, it's both, and it's the guys, it's the guys buying into what we're doing, being disciplined about their rush plans. All those things take a lot of work, as you can imagine, and it's also the carryover and consistency of guys working together, the same groups, talking to each other and working through those things.
Dave, Bryce's plays when the pocket breaks down in the last few weeks seem to be a pretty stark contrast to early in the season. I know some of it's schemed and rolling them out a little bit, but what would you say has been the biggest reason for him to be eluding those pass rushers, and not just that, he making plays after doing so?
Yeah, it's just Bryce trying to find a win for every given situation, and his competitiveness showing up in these situations where, we're ahead or we're in or right behind in these games, and just trying to find a way to win. And then I think the thing that I've been mentioning too is just, his ownership of these concepts, to know, how much time do I have to allow this concept to develop? Is this the right coverage for this play? Are we attacking it right, or am I going to have to progress all the way through 3 and 4? So just being really decisive with, can I hold and can I wait on this thing, or do I need to go right now and try to make a play? And so he's just operating really quickly through those things.
How much of the Alabama tape did you watch after you were hired? Because these were sort of the out-platform plays he was known for in college.
Yeah, that stuff, before he was drafted, just going through the process, looking at all the quarterbacks, a couple years ago. And then, as we've gone through this process, it's good reminders to just see, these are the concepts that, we can continue to build for him, that he finds success with. And I think, the things you see in college, he's familiar with all those plays. And so he knows how to extend it. If I can give this guy just a half second longer to try to make this throw, you look at Thielen's touchdown 2 weeks ago, and just buying time in the pocket to allow him to come open on the opposite side in the void, giving Xavier a chance last week, just can I buy myself just a little bit more time manipulating the pocket? And those are great things that are showing up.
What moment of one game or one practice did you see that click in for him?
I can't point to a moment. I know he's just been working on it the whole time, and something that he's really, challenged himself and the skill players to continue to finish their routes, finish to me, finish to voids.
Coach, I saw that Jalen Coker was a full participant today. Were there any setbacks with the quad injury last week that, flared back up for him later on as the week went by?
He just didn't look ready, last week as we got down to it, and he had a great day today. We had our individual period, and he was aggressive. He was attacking his routes, and that's what I wanted to see last week, where he still felt a little bit apprehensive with it. And he's got a different kind of focus and a readiness physically and mentally this week, and I'm excited, and hopefully we can get him back out there on Sunday.
Dave, in these linking situations, Bryce seems to be showing kind of being unflappable that he did in college. how special of a trait is that to have for a quarterback, and is it promising to see that kind of returning in these moments?
It is special, and the confidence comes from all the hard work, and I think that Bryce gets himself to a point because of all the studying, because of all the challenges in practice, pushing himself and all that, to where when we're in these situations and games, the call comes in, he knows what the call is, and now he's just got to do his part, and that's the cool part, but that's also just a part of what he brought, before. And I love seeing it happen, over and over in these games. It's consistency, and I think that's something he'd be up here telling you, like, if he prides himself on one thing, it's consistency, and he's just able to continue to show up and just do his one part in those situations.
Dave, you've also been good in the late game situations in terms of clock management. I know you've mentioned the role that George Lee has, but did you learn a philosophy from someone in terms of, or was there a conversation amongst the group where it's like, hey, this is our plan for this? Like, because it seems like there have been in the league some kind of rough late game situations.
I appreciate you saying that. We work on it a lot. And honestly, I got to give props to Coach Carroll. He challenged us to be involved in all these situations. It was every Wednesday and Thursday for 13 years in Seattle in a walkthrough. We would go through go through end-of-half situations on Wednesday with a little mini situation, put ourselves in the most difficult possible spots. We practiced another hard one today. Those things kind of get my heartbeat racing a little bit in these walkthroughs. And so it's like, if you can take yourself to that game type of mentality, and your players as well, like, we got to be ready. What's the call going to be? When we get into this situation, how are we going to handle it? And so Tracy Smith's dad, Carl Smith, we affectionately call him Tater. Tater just would take us through. I was in that QB room as an assistant, and we would just spend, 7-8 minutes, just look at another situation that came up this week. Here's what happened, guys, in this situation. Here's where it kind of goes haywire. Here's where this team did really good. And we just watched those things grew and studied. And so it's just a lot of intentionality. And I got a bunch of coaches who, add their opinions and information about those things as we work through it as well. So it's a collective effort.
Dave, you're 13 games into this now. I was wondering, looking back, what things as a head coach kind of maybe surprised you that you weren't expecting maybe, or you had to adjust to, and what things have you gotten better at as the season's going along?
Yeah, I would say probably one of the biggest things is feeling how relationally connected I am to a lot more people now. I think when you're a position coach, you're really connected to your group. And sometimes a guy here or there from another position as a coordinator, you're connected to a few more guys on the offense, and the coaches as well. And then as a head coach, what I found is, Noah Scott was born, a couple days ago. She's 9 pounds, 15 ounces. And Nick Scott, congrats to them. But it's like the beautiful part of that. But then there's also loss of family members. There's tragedy that happens. There's personal struggles and all that. And I didn't realize how much that was going to touch and affect me because you get a text, and it's like, hey, just so your heads up, this is going on or that's going on. And so that was something that I didn't realize would be, such a big part of it. I think just the sheer amount of decisions to be made on a daily basis and a weekly basis, it's all the way through it, and just kind of trying to find windows where I can shut it down for a second, try to reconnect with okay, what's going on here? Where are we at? And before the next wave of decisions come up, so that was something that a lot of coaches told me would happen. Todd Bowles said, hey, 5 things every day you're not going to be able to anticipate, just know that's normal. And so, I've been blessed to have help, to have Coach Capers and Coach Caldwell right here, to have people I can call, to lean on in that regard, and then I think also just from a practical standpoint of calling plays. It's only my second year calling offensive football plays, but now having to be more involved with the replay situations and flip over to the defense. So I'm available for a Jero during the defensive series, talking to Tracy, all those things. And I love it, but I kind of feel a little punchy after games. It's kind of so many choices, so many decisions happen. But I look forward to the challenges of it. It stretches me beyond really what I'm capable of sometimes, and then just have to learn, have grace, ask questions, and grow weekly.
Like their record, they still have Zimmer's defense with Micah Parsons in it. What do you see in this Dallas defense that you guys know you got to latch on to?
Yeah, weekly improvement, especially over the last month. Micah is getting back to his form. that he was, before he, missed some time. And then Coach Zimmer, I have the highest respect for his system and the things that he does. And he's still got a couple of things that I haven't quite seen yet from the past, but they're adding things. Eric Kendricks, he allows them to kind of do those things. He communicates it all. Linville Joseph, a guy that's been in the system as well. So I see a group that's just kind of learning this scheme and adding pieces to it, and it's a really, really challenging defense. And his style of play, like they run like crazy. They pride themselves on the physical and aggressive nature, the aggressive calls of it. So I see it coming to life, especially over this last month.
But with Michael in particular, when you've got a guy like that can play so many positions and line up everywhere, how do you best prepare for that?
You just kind of have to look at it as the same kind of fronts. He puts himself in different spots. We just got to be aware of where he's at, but you can't just tilt your entire game plan. You just have to be aware, and try to play the odds and try to play the percentages of where you think he's going to be at to try to help ourselves execute.
Dave, bringing Jones from the Jaguars practice squad, you guys have listed him as a running back. He worked with running backs today. I'm just curious, what's the process like when you're converting a guy from wide receiver to running back, and what makes you comfortable doing that right now?
Yeah, it's a challenge, and I think it's an opportunity to have a really talented athlete, 6 feet, 200, can run like crazy. He's got some return value, all those things, but there's a lot that goes into the running back position. You got to respect the amount of pass protection things that go into it, coming from a receiver to running back. So, that's one of the biggest challenges. And then you don't just hand the ball off and run these runs. There's a way to run it, and fortunately, he's got Chuba to look at. He's got, Mike Boone to look at, Raheem, who's day to day. These guys have had familiarity, but, we'll have to kind of bring him on and see if he can help us in some way, shape, or form.
It would have been interesting had Andy not been in the car crash.
Yeah.
What was the plan to get another look at some point this season for Bryce?
Yeah. I'm not going to get into that. I think that's pretty private just in terms of the plan of how that would have happened. I think it happened the way it did, and so Bryce got in there and took advantage of his opportunity.
There was a plan, though.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time since 2022, the Panthers are favored to win in a game. Do you pay attention to that stuff? Does that stuff even?
I try not to. Vegas is really good with the odds, so I really don't like to see what the spread is and all that stuff. And I just try to make the focus about us, about what is our next step, and those things don't help us. I try not to use external things to motivate our guys. The motivation for us in the story all along is, can we find our best individually, as our groups, as the offense, defense, special teams, and then collectively as a team, can we find our best? And our best looks like finishing whatever it takes to win the games, and we haven't found that yet. And so I know our best is still out there for us, and I think that kind of urgency will allow us to stay in this mode where I'm proud of the progress. I really am. I'm proud of the leaps that we've taken in different ways in our different parts of our team and schemes that we've been, really challenged with. And so I think that just having that approach for our guys to just keep our focus in here, it works at all times. And so I try not to, pay too much attention to it.
That's one right here. It's not finalized yet, but all the momentum looks like Bill Belichick to Chapel Hill. What's been your experience over the years with Bill, and what would that mean to see him kind of here in a college role in the same state where you were?
I've just always admired the system, the whole thing, and I don't know all the details of what they were doing. I just saw the product of really good football, of teams that played together, teams that played with discipline, that were committed to playing tough football. You didn't see teams that over-tried to be really fancy and all this. They just were so sound in their execution, great situationally, end of games in 4 minute, 2 minute. They always seem to make the right choices, They developed their roster. Their young players grew in their systems, and you see them kind of develop, and then some of them they were able to retain. Some of them went on to play other places, but I just had such an admiration, being in Seattle and really valuing the same things with two completely different personalities, in Bill and with Coach Carroll, and to see that they cared about the same things. It was all about the ball for both. It was all about playing all phases, and playing great situational football. And so, that's the heart of great football, so it would be amazing to have him kind of close and, to try to pick his brain at some point.
The Cowboys, you weren't here, but the last time they were here, it was a Cowboys crowd takeover.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot of Cowboy fans. Are you guys doing anything practice-wise to prepare for that in case, it is a predominantly Cowboys crowd?
Well, we practice with the noise because we know people love to come to Charlotte. So, whatever team we seem to play, there's a lot of red when the Chiefs came here, and there's kind of a mixed crowd. So we keep the noise going regularly just to kind of deal with potential noise, in different situations. We haven't had critical issues like being in a true road game, but there is a little bit extra, so we just kind of keep the noise going so that we're and from what I understand too, like the Cowboys game's televised here before the Panthers had a team. So like I just kind of ran into people around town who said, I grew up a Cowboys fan because that was the one that showed up on TV, when I woke up before the Panthers in '95 became a team. So I understand that part of it too. But just looking forward to another week and another great challenge for us with a bunch of great players on that team that'll bring out the best in our group.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
No. Yeah. Thank you.
Cowboys and Washington.
Cowboys and Washington.